it's unusual.
I'd like to call this meeting to order. We have 4 of the 5 selectmen are present. We have a quorum. The chair is out of town, so I am having to step into his place tonight. If everyone could please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Are there any amendments to the agenda? Seeing none, public comment. Take the Comcast letter off. Yes. So there is an amendment to the agenda that we are going to remove C1 from the consent agenda, which is a letter from Comcast. And do you want to move that as an action item?
No, I just want to get rid of it because
Okay. And is there a motion on the consent agenda?
I'd like to, we set aside A, payable warrants. I got to ask a question to the chief about some of the spending.
Okay. So limiting the consent agenda just to the November 29th minutes, as well as the correspondence listed in C. Is there a motion?
I move we accept the consent agenda as amended.
Second.
All in favor? Action and discussion items. We are going to start with recognizing Joe Donovic for his contributions to the Historical Commission, Historical Society. Step forward. Slide behind you. We want to thank you for everything that you've done with the Historical Society and
Thank you very much.
recognize your years of service.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm put in a place of honor. You've got a good commission. Keep Candace as your chair and keep Paul running them legally, you'll be in good shape.
Thank you.
Thank you, Joe.
Right, thank you.
Good night.
Merry Christmas.
The next item is to discuss the budget with the Budget Committee. So I'm not, that's a little vague. I'm not entirely sure.
Well, to answer questions.
I think everybody's been given a copy of the year-to-date budget, and just to kind of check in and see if anybody has any questions about where things are. Go ahead.
Terry?
Could somebody explain to me, I guess it's number 38, I guess, capital improvement? I mean, there was no money budgeted at the town meeting, and it appears that you spent over $3,200. Could you explain that to me? It says grants and general purpose.
Okay, yeah.
I see it right here.
Terry, that's another one of those kind of strange line items that gets written off every year. So what ends up happening with this one is we pay out grant money during the year, and we also get money in during the year revenue. And we have a grant fund. So at the end of the year, what our auditors will do is they'll take the amount of money that we paid off, and they'll reconcile the grant account. So we take what was in the grant account, we add what we got from the grants, and we subtract the money that we've spent out with the grants. And then we come up with a figure that's in the grant account. And we do this every year until we run out of grant money. And then when we run out of grant money, the select board chooses to put it back into the warrant as line item, and then we replenish the grant line.
Well, I guess my question is, if it's coming out of the grants, or it's for grants, the reason that grant fund was set up was so that the monies would be taken out of that fund as needed. Why is there all of a sudden another line item here to cover that? I guess I don't understand that.
It's always been there. And, because I didn't make that line item, so it's always been there, or as long as I know, and when Janet was here, I know it was there. And that's just the way the accountants account for those figures.
Because frequently we have to advance the money and then whatever we've gotten the grant for, we have to purchase it and then submit receipts. So we have to pay the money up front out of that grant account and then it gets paid back to us.
But it doesn't say that this is coming out of the grant account. That's what puzzles me, is why doesn't it come immediately out of the grant account?
Grants, general purpose.
It says capital improvement.
That's what it's on, yeah, but 38 it says grants and general purpose, just a line item.
Right.
So there is no other line item that has anything to do with grants?
Right, that is the grant line. I don't know why it's under the subheading capital improvements. That's just where the accountants placed it.
And what was these grants written for?
The grants, that fund covers all grants, I believe, and the chief isn't here, but I believe most of these were fire department related grants. But I could very well be corrected on.
I think most of them were fire department grants. I think there may have been one public works.
Like, there was some safety equipment for the public works department, I think, that was also from a grant.
Yep.
Part of that was for that tower, wasn't it?
Yes,
Yep.
yep.
One of them, I'm not sure if they both were, one of them was for that.
Well, I might be able.
Could I ask a question on public works labor? Is the, we've only spent 70%, the fiscal year goes through the calendar year,
It does.
but we've only spent 70%. Just for my education, is it because we had snowfall was lighter than we expected last winter, or?
I think that's part of it. The other part is our new road commissioner is dealing with overtime in a different manner. So he's trying to cut down on overtime. So we had been going with copious amounts of overtime, and we didn't have that last winter because of the way he's redone the way he schedules, and also because we didn't have a very strong winter.
Because it,
So-
So I, along Public Works, I have like three quick questions. One on facility maintenance, where you appear to be spending significantly more than you budgeted.
So facility maintenance is significantly higher because of the roof at the Public Works. So we took most of the money for the roof out of the Public Works building bond, which we still had some money left in. And then there was a shortfall, I think it was about $9,000 was the shortfall. And so we took that out of the facilities maintenance.
Okay, and the surface treatment?
That you'd probably have to ask Calvin, because I don't really know.
And then winter equipment maintenance, the same person, ask Calvin?
Yeah, we had some maintenance that we had to do on the equipment this year. It's gotten to the
Surface-
point where it's needing
Surface
some.
treatment of the Auburn Pownell Road, yeah?
That could be anything, that could be anything treatment.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, I would ask Calvin.
it looks impressive to be 80%, we've only spent 80% of the public works budget, but we're 11/12 in the way through the year. That's impressive.
Well, winter can eat that up real quick.
Yeah.
We're just starting.
Winter's here.
Right, but we only have 3 more
And
weeks,
this does not
so.
include anything for December, right?
Right.
Correct.
December, January, February, go through March.
Well, right, but
Well, no, but
our
this is
budget
just
is
for
only through
December,
December
yeah.
31st. So.
Hey, before we go too far, can we get Terry's question answered if Bill can come back before we forget?
Bill?
She walks away again. Kinda jumped, impatient little person. Kinda jumped ahead there, just
When Bill comes back, I just had a question on maintenance and repairs. Again, that appeared to be significantly overexpended from your original budget line.
For this, for the town hall?
No, this is for fire department.
Okay, yeah, ask Bill that one too.
Yes, Bill?
Hey, Bill, the first question was the grants. How many grants have you applied for?
What grants have I applied for?
Yeah, how many?
Yeah, at this point, we applied for the Fire Act grant, and we've applied for the forestry grant. Those are the two that would require, I think the discussion was based on the grant match account.
Yeah,
Those
that comes
are
out
the
of the
two
grant.
that require grant matches. Right now, we have a Homeland Security grant that we'd have to pay for up front, but it's complete reimbursement. So we've already been awarded. But those are the two. The Fire Act grant, I'm gonna ballpark it, it's 5% ends up becoming the local share, and I think that was somewhere around, I'm guessing, I think it was 80,000. The forestry grant, the request there was for 5,000 or 6,000, and it's a 50-50 deal. We have to pay up front, but they reimburse 50% of it up to whatever is awarded.
So
That's, at this point, the other grant I was gonna apply for, once it opens up, is they have a staffing one that, through the federal government, that should be coming up soon.
the
Initial, first year, I don't think there's any cost match, even if we did end up getting it, but that's very competitive, so I'd say the odds are very slim of us getting that.
And then the ones that have already, the Homeland Security and the other grants that we've already gotten, I think Terry's original question was because looks like we've paid out about $3,252 in funds out of the grant account. So would those be costs that we've advanced on grants that have been already granted that we will then be reimbursed
Going back to
for?
the records and looking to see, I know there was a forestry grant, but that's 50-50. We end up owning 50% of that, so there would have been 50% that would have been left behind from that. I think the other one that we actually paid for fire department out of there last year was the Homeland Security grant, which I'd have to look at the files to tell you if the check came back in for that one or not.
That only comes out of the grant line, is what we're trying to say, right?
Yeah, well, actually, what it was created for is, when the account was originally created, it was created, I think, back in the day, right in the vicinity of when we got awarded the engine, was when it was, and I think we got some grants for, the community grants and stuff like that, and it was actually created so that there would be an area where you could come up with a fund, so you wouldn't have to turn, like in the case of the engine, that was a $250,000 grant. At that time, we had to pay 10%, which meant our share in the end was $25,000. That one there went to town meeting to be approved. However, if it came in the middle of the year and the grant was gonna lapse before it was actually created, so that you wouldn't have to give up, say, that $225,000 towards the purchase of an engine for lack of having authorization to.
And that was the time that the grant fund was funded at that time.
Yep.
So we would not have to go back to town meeting.
Right.
But getting back to what you're saying, Billy, is if I understand the figures that you just threw out there, okay, it doesn't even come close to the figure that's on this page.
Yeah, if I'd have to look for sure, but I'm pretty sure the Fire Act grant. It was for, our FCBA's are approaching 3 cycles old, and according to standards, the Department of Labor doesn't really press it, but if we get somebody hurt, we're gonna be held accountable to that. After 2 cycles, they have to be replaced. And FPA cycles, which is about 10 years to convert it. So anyways, that grant, I'm ballparking this. I think it was 80,000, it might have been a little more, but 5% is our share. So let's just use 100,000, 5% of it would mean we'd have to come up with $10,000 for the local match in order to accept that.
But we haven't done that yet, right?
The grant submitted, but we haven't, and Durham is a community that the Fire Act grant, as of late, we were very successful with it initially, but as of late, we come right at that threshold, where if there was more funding at the federal level, we'd probably get awarded. Yeah, you have to be up around the 90 percentile to get funded, and you tend to end up just a hair under it every year. We get our letter about October saying, sorry, we ran out of money before we got to you.
So-
Didn't we have some for the tower over there? Wasn't there some? 'Cause we got two figures here. One's
a Homeland
1444,
Security grant.
right?
Um,
And one's 18. Oh wait, and I was thinking at least one of those was. Oh, I thought they were both something that you did, but I can't remember which one was which.
I don't have papers in
The,
front of
the,
me.
the
The
14.
ones I remember are the forestry grant,
Yeah.
which the forestry grant would have been 50/50. I think we would have spent probably about, I think our reimbursement was, and I think that reimbursement did come in, was 700 to 900. The one
Yes.
that I'm not certain if it's come in or not without looking is the Homeland Security one, which that's actually fully reimbursed. Any of the Homeland Security ones that are administrated through MEMA and Androscoggin EMA are full reimbursement. However, you have to pay up for all of these grants. You have to pay up front. That's with the exclusion of the Fire Act grant for the large purchases. The Fire Act grant, you create the invoice and you can do a draw off your grant.
So these two items that have been paid, and I'm very confused, Mo, but I'm sure by the time we get to budget committee meetings, maybe it'll be straightened out. In May, we paid $1,400+ and in September, we paid $1,800+. This is monies that's been taken out of the account.
Right.
The monies that Billy's talking about have not been taken out yet?
We haven't paid for anything on the new grants that he's applied for. But we, on the flip side of those expenses that you're looking at, we also have revenues. So when they send me a check from these different organizations to reimburse us for the grant, it goes into a revenue account. And then at the end of the year, the auditors take that account.
I know some of these grant monies, and I just don't have the figures right in front of me, but I do know Public Works did a couple of safety grants. And I would anticipate that they might have come out of this funding as well.
Can't you just look up under those 2 months and see what those expenditures were?
Yeah.
Well, I have one for Jordan Lumber, which was for pump hose and
Yeah,
miscellaneous
that would be
supplies.
forestry.
Okay, and then I have one that was just done on the business card.
Yeah, and that would actually be the Homeland Security. The Homeland Security, forestry, I believe, has been reimbursed. So 50% of whatever you show for Jordan Lumber should have been reimbursed.
We did get a check.
The Homeland Security one, that one, sometimes that drags. Sometimes that's 2 or 3 months before reimbursement happens on that.
I'm not really interested in what we're gonna get coming in. I'm just interested in what we have paid for.
Right. There should be.
You know, because like Bruce says, at the end of the year, we're gonna get reimbursed in this account. But right now,
We spent 3252, and that's what we're trying to find out what that money was for. That's the question.
that's the question. And if that is the case, how much money is in the grant account to begin with? I mean, shouldn't that figure be here somewhere?
That figure shows up on something called the assigned balance fund. Let me look it up. Which is what you guys get with your budget packets every year, that shows the different funds and how much their balances are there. Let me see if I can pick it up.
But maybe I'm wrong, but right now, it shows that we're in debt, the 3252.
That's what it shows here. That's what it
It
looks
shows
like.
that we've spent that, but this really only shows spending, it doesn't show revenue. So
So-
it wouldn't show, that this particular spreadsheet wouldn't show the monies back in.
At
But
the,
there's money in that account, you should not have that negative balance. And
There's-
if you have a negative balance,
I don't know how to explain.
what gives anybody the authority to spend that much money?
Now you can speak. Go ahead.
Well, so according to the fund balance, we started the year with $3,940.09, right?
How much?
$3,940.09. So far this year, we've taken in from the grants $11,691.12. Then you take off what we've spent, which is the $3,252.69. So at the end of this year, unless something changes in December, we would have $12,378.52 in the grant account. So when the auditors come in and they do my audit, they take this fund balance and they audit it. And that's how they know how much money is in the fund balance. And it shows up in our audit every year.
So the triple zeros we say here ain't exactly correct. In a way you explain it there. Right?
It's not a warranted expense. It's not something that's
Right.
on the warrant every year because we've created a fund
I understand what you're saying.
that is replenished
My
every
budget was
once.
confused
Right,
about
and
where that
there
money
is a warrant article every year that authorizes us to seek
Yes.
grants. So
Yes.
to answer Terry, to answer your question about what authority, there is a warrant article every year at town meeting that grants the town the right to seek grants and to pay matching funds. So that's the authority that those matching funds are paid out of.
Okay, I understand that. But
You're looking at the negative 32.52 and change, when, and what you're thinking is it should actually say 12,378 and change, is what should be in that spot. Is that what you're asking? Because if that's what's left in the grant fund, what we've already paid out, correct? From the numbers you just gave us. So that red number that's showing up there right now would actually be 12,378 and change,
To the good.
to the good,
Yeah,
right.
right. That's what's gonna be in the fund at the end of the year.
Black, not red.
Unless-
Right, so why is that in the red if we've actually got money in that account?
It's,
Sounds
I
like
don't,
what she
un-
just said was they just don't know what that number's gonna be just
So
yet.
they'll wait until the end of the year and they're gonna lump it all together, so that
When-
number will
when they do my
automatically-
audit is when they audit.
Backtrack
I
over
understand
it.
the confusion,
Yeah,
because
okay.
to be honest, when I first got here and I saw that, I was like, what is that and what do you do with that account? But when I spoke with the auditors and we figured it all out, she explained to me that this is how the auditors and the accounting goes in the municipality, is because we have this fund account. We need some place to keep track of the expenses and the revenues that we get that correspond with this fund account. And then that's all put together at the end of the year and comes out in our audit, which shows the end fund balance.
So for the purpose of this discussion, those really should have been blank, but the program Excel went ahead and calculated that and stuck the numbers in there, and that's what we're seeing.
Well, I stuck them in there because they're in my TRIO program.
All right.
Well, it's just like looking at this spreadsheet, we don't see the revenues coming in. We don't
Right.
see any revenues here.
Right,
We only see expense,
right.
so.
And because there's no specific warrant amount assigned to the grant, everything else is offset by whatever amount was allocated in the warrant. And since there is no specific warrant amount allocated to that grant line, it becomes a negative number because it zeroes out on the balance sheet.
So Ruth, from the budget committee meetings, you'll show us what the revenue picture looks like, as you just explained.
You'll see the assigned balance
Right.
fund sheet,
Right.
which you guys receive every year.
Yeah.
So,
All right, I have a number of questions about expenditures.
Can I get my questions over? Kelvin's getting there. Maybe the same questions.
Could be.
Kelvin, there are 3 lines I looked at. One is facility maintenance. The other is surface treatment. The other is winter equipment maintenance. They're all over expended. Could you kind of briefly walk through?
Oh, I'm sorry, Calvin. Let me find your page. Now, the facility maintenance one is the roof.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask you about that eventually. Isn't that the roof?
Facility maintenance line is the roof.
Yeah.
The surface treatments, I don't.
Surface treatment, what I did, I just put that in the wrong That's over, but that should have come out of,
Ice be gone or something?
okay, where is surface, no, that was chip seal. Where, what number is it?
Is it the Auburn Powell Road?
4517.
45-7,
17.
17,
So that is
surface treatment.
crack filling and single
Okay.
stone seal is what I have.
Oh, yeah, that's
Yeah,
the,
used it for crack sealing. And,
chip seal,
Chip seal.
yeah.
And what did, so it's over. What did we pay for out of that?
Well, there's a bill for coastal road repair, which was the
Yeah,
crack filling.
seal, yeah.
And then there's a bill from Allstate Asphalt for single stone seal.
Chip seal.
Okay. That one was 70,000, the chip sealing.
And that's over. But what did I have budgeted for that?
60,000.
60, and I spent 75. And I think the thought was there's more, that's why there's money left in the paving. I can answer that for you once I get it laid out, but it was, I knew I had 225. I took that number, 225 for the paving and the surface treatment, put it together.
Yeah.
And then, it was just how it, I knew I had enough money between the paving and but instead of paving, some of it went to, it didn't go exactly the way it was allotted, but that's where it went, so. So instead of having, like $39,000 left in the paving, there's really only,
So you're saying some of this could have been allocated to the paving?
right. Instead of, you can do either one, you can either do
Yeah,
an
you have a
over,
surplus there.
right, you can either do an overlay with pavement, or you
Yeah.
can do a chip seal, they're
Yeah.
kind of a trade-off, and so. That's just the way it was done, so there's still a surplus.
So it's actually, between the two, there's actually around 24,000
Right.
is what really that number should be.
Yeah,
The treatment of the time.
that's helpful, thanks. Yeah, the last one was the winter equipment maintenance,
That's over, and I actually,
4533.
yeah, that's over, but I figured I had enough left in the summer. But rather than when I get to the negative, rather than putting it somewhere else, I'd rather put it there so I know my true numbers, so that moving forward, I can say, well, here's what I really spent, what I really need for this column, and I can adjust it. So where this is really, last year was kind of a guess, and this year I'm starting to get some feel for what we're actually spending it on, I can,
And you have you're fairly new department, so you have a
Yeah.
better read for next year.
right. So that's kind of why I put it in the column. Instead of moving it over, I can say, well, I don't want to do that, because I might confuse me into thinking that I really have extra money here, or I really don't need it. And so it's just kind of a way for checks and balance for me to look at how to set up next year's budget.
Thanks.
Calvin, I have a couple of questions. So with regards to liquid de-icer, we appropriated 18 grand. I mean, we can say that, you know, it's still December, but I mean, we had winter last January, February, March. So did we not need that de-icer? Why is?
Well, the de-icer has come in, and so we really don't have that there. We've already just had one shipment, and the second one's going to be coming.
We haven't paid the bill yet.
We haven't paid it.
Okay.
That's one, you'll see some, did we get that? No, we don't have that bill. But I have the slip, but we don't have the bill yet, so.
Okay.
And there'll be another one coming.
Yep. And then, I was noticing under road commissioner salary that you've been paid more than what the amount, than the warrant amount. How does that happen?
I can answer that one.
That's a Ruth question.
That's a brief question. I actually thought I had put that in the email, but that is because we split with Pownell. So we do a 40-60 split with Pownell. So they had not at that point reimbursed us. So now they have reimbursed us, and in the end of December, it will come out correctly.
Okay. And then there's a couple of other items that just, I mean, they're, you know, 40%, 2%, anything that's like at 2% or 4% or, are they at this late date probably gonna stay that way? They were just things that were budgeted for that either weren't needed or time ran out, or I can see like professional services, only
And a lot,
2.4% was spent.
yeah, and a lot of that has been spent, or some of that's been spent, that is work that's ongoing for engineering and stuff, and so there'll be a couple of those bills in the next meeting.
So our selectmen aren't current with their bills?
Oh, no, I just haven't got them yet.
Oh, you haven't gotten the bills yet? Okay.
We're always current.
That's good to hear. All right. Speaking of bills, so I'm noticing that throughout the department, both for this building, fire department, and public works, our propane expenses are quite a bit lower than what was budgeted. Did we get a lower contract, or how did that happen?
We did get a contract. It's a very low contract, but it was also very warm last winter. So I think we probably didn't use as much propane as we usually do.
So this is all reflecting less use because of the warmer temperatures last year?
Yeah. But we did get a contract. I think I want to say it's $1.13 or $1, somewhere
Did
between $1.13
this year's
and
con-
$1.14.
did the contract for the upcoming year go down because,
I don't think so. I think we just kept the amount in there because we were trying to guess how cold it was gonna be, and no one knows, so we didn't wanna shortchange ourselves either.
when does that go out to?
That already went out.
It's gone out, and the contract is for 3 years now, the propane contract.
So how much different is that from the last 3-year contract?
Last year we didn't have a contract, so it was just the cash price, and the year before, I don't remember what it was, because that's the one that Janet did, $1.29 maybe.
So maybe you just can't answer these questions, but I would ask this question at the budget meeting is, how did we benefit from entering into a 3-year contract versus if last year we were paying just the cash price? I'd like to know what the savings was granted to us for doing
And
that.
it was combined with, diesel and.
Not diesel, just heating oil.
Heating
for
oil
the-
and propane. I think we did it with the heating oil too. They gave us a better price on heating oil if we took the propane, or something like that it was. We gotta go
Fire
back
free
on our
Did we
notes.
go out to bid on that, or did we
Yes.
get
We went out
numerous
to bids
quotes?
on it.
Yeah,
We actually had,
all combined.
We called
Yeah.
different companies and asked
Yeah.
for bids, yes.
So I'm sure you'll have a report about that at the meeting. Calvin, I just noticed that the dump truck with the half ton with the plow came, about almost $10,000 less than what we had budgeted for. Did you get a better deal on that, or how did that come about?
We also got a trade-in allowance.
Training,
That we hadn't anticipated?
yeah, we didn't have any idea what the value was, it was just we got 10,000.
10 or 11,000 or something like that.
Yeah, that's what it looks like.
So I think that's the difference, and I really couldn't put a number on it because I didn't know if it had much of any value, so.
Yep. I think that's it for my question for now.
I just have a quick question for Bill.
You're in the hot seat.
On your maintenance and repairs budget, Bill, it's.
Building maintenance and
Yeah,
repairs of
yeah.
equipment. Building?
Yeah.
Building maintenance, if we're headed with this, is that line shows that it's substantially overspent.
Right.
We actually had an unplanned expense in the repair of the gear washer, gear extractor, which, again, I'm picking numbers out of the top of my head. I want to say it was around $3,500, so that's the primary reason for that line.
So kind of a one-time,
Yeah, well, I
or
hope
at least
so.
for this year.
I hope so.
Yeah, Yeah.
Yeah.
okay, thanks.
Any other questions on the budget?
that's kind of up to you guys.
That's your
isn't it?
budget. Your meeting.
It's you guys' choice, I think.
Well, we
Oh, with us?
We haven't gone through it yet, have we?
January.
We're gonna go through it
Well,
at some point.
we have asked the department heads to get the selectmen their budgets by, I believe, the first week in January.
I wrote it down right here.
With the
January
idea
2nd.
that we'd be able to get
January
through it
3rd.
pretty quickly and try to get it to you guys a bit earlier this year than last year. We were mindful of the fact that a lot of people mentioned meetings during the February school vacation as being problematic, so we're trying to avoid that this year.
Do you wanna give us any, it always comes up, give us a heads up? I know my company, my wife's company, so I'm just hearing it, people are getting just killed with health insurance costs going up. Have you already had to address it? Is it being addressed? Is there a plan? Do we have can you able to tell us where we're at this stage?
Well, like, we did get the renewed figures, and they have gone up, about 10%. The administration budget, I mean, do you want me to go out and do the whole farming out again thing? I mean, I can do it if you want, all the comparisons that we did last year, or do you want to talk about, different plans? I don't know what you guys want to discuss.
I don't really think it's up to us to tell, or
All right, what do you guys want to
tell
discuss?
you people what to do. I mean,
Good.
We haven't even seen the new renewal figures
Right.
yet, so I don't know that we are in a position to tell you our plan as of this moment, because
Costs have gone up for everybody.
The selectmen
all across
haven't
the
looked at
board,
it yet.
So I don't know that we're gonna be in much different boat, but we can look around.
I just caution about taking, the easy route is you just stick with your current vendor, but with the way rates are, bouncing around, I don't know why.
The thing
why
about
would
the
you do
current
that?
vendor is that they pool all municipalities that are members together and we get a bigger risk pool, whereas if we go it alone, we're in our own risk pool. That's the big difference.
We could self-insure, but there's only about 10 people in the town that are insured.
You're better off where you are.
Right, historically, going through the MMA, we've gotten much better rates. I don't think
And
anybody.
that's what the strength is there, is that they pool all the municipalities together.
So that's something we talk about in January, February, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, as I said, the selectmen haven't even seen those renewal numbers yet, so in terms of what our plan is,
You should be, don't all policies renew for the first of the year?
Yeah.
Hell,
Yeah.
So it's maybe talking about it pretty quick.
Yeah, next, we guess that January 3rd, so they gotta get the numbers to us, so.
What did we look at last year? Are you
Looked at
able to
three
pull
different
that,
ones
are you
last
able
year,
to
didn't
pull that again, together again, or,
Yeah.
yeah?
We looked at, we looked at doing an HSA or HRA instead of doing the kind that we do in, I mean, yeah, we can look at that
No,
again.
that's what my company, which is a 400 employee company, that's what they started doing is, they started throwing in benefits to the employees if they would switch to an HSA. If they wanted to stick with, the lower risk, then the company turned more payment to, on our behalf, for us. So the company was willing to pay what it had been paying, even a little bit more, if employees were willing to change to a different type of coverage, i.e. an HSA. If they weren't willing to change, then they changed that 80-20 to a different formula.
I know when we looked at that last year, it seems like it was gonna cost us more in the long run for part of that.
We were gonna switch over to an HRA funded by the town. And because we have so few employees, it doesn't have a real big turnaround as far as savings are concerned.
Right. I know Jeff had more information on that, so, but yes, we'll take a peek at that as soon as we get our stuff, and I know the company I work for, luckily ours isn't gonna change. But, I mean, their end might be, but our end ain't.
You're how lucky.
Maybe next year we'll be all in a better spot. Hopefully.
Don't hold your breath.
so do you have an idea when everybody's budget's gonna be available?
Well, we've asked the department heads, as I said, to get them to the selectmen the first week in January. And then the selectmen will go through all of the budgets line by line with the department heads. And, you know, we'll take our initial crack at it, so to speak, and then pass the budget along to you. And hopefully we'll be able to have our meetings a little bit earlier than we did last year, so that there's a little bit more time.
When is the
Before town
vacation in
meeting.
February? Is it the first, the second
Actually,
week?
the second week, yeah.
Second week.
Second week?
I believe.
That's the week we're trying to stay away from. I think somebody on the budget committee had vacation that week, and they, not that they didn't want to spend all their time looking at this, but I can't blame them for not wanting to.
I'm excited about it.
Well, I always,
Was it your desire that, did you want us listening into your budget discussion, or would you
No.
prefer that you just do things the way you've always done it, and you'll present us with a budget in February?
Sounds good to me.
'Cause that's what you have on, I just noticed it on the agenda, so I didn't know if that's.
That just us, for us to discuss amongst ourselves, and once we get everything, bring it to you guys like we always have.
Yep.
Then we'll jump together and we'll really go. That works good for me, I don't know about you guys.
yeah, I mean, it's public, so I mean, I guess if you want to come and listen,
Oh, yeah, anybody.
it ain't gonna hurt you, it'll be that. I guess the only thing is I probably wouldn't spend a lot of time questioning and answering during that time till we figured it out, that's all.
Right.
But yeah, I don't see, if you guys wanna show up, sure, I mean, that only makes sense. Maybe the questions will be answered during ours, and you won't have to ask them on yours. Or you'll have different ones.
That's fine, but the ones who want there, will be still, it's just like town meeting.
Yeah.
They'll still ask us
But
questions.
yeah, I would say, yeah, come on down.
All right, are we all set with the budget for the time being?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The website RFP,
Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
We can ask them if they want to
I
see
mean, we
it.
looked at your recommendations at the last meeting, but, you know, frankly, most of us didn't know enough to know anything, so I don't think you must not have been here.
I wasn't at the last meeting, no.
No, it was the meeting before,
The meeting
Yeah.
before, okay.
when I did the PowerPoint and we talked about,
I can't hear.
There was one that,
Give it to him.
do you remember the PowerPoint? And we talked about the two different companies that we were,
I seem to have recalled that I had.
yeah,
one
you
of
weren't
the
here
last-
because you had a couple questions.
Yeah.
So anyways, Shannon's here to answer our questions.
Happy to.
I don't remember the question
Guys, I
now.
can't hear to take the minutes. Terry, I can't hear to take the minutes. Your mouth is overlapping yours, I can't hear to take the minutes.
I like it.
We looked at a comparison, and there was one that I remember I liked because of, we were talking about the storage, and I think that was the questions we had, was storage,
I think it
How
was
long
about,
can-
I think it was two questions, because I watched the video, were about the streaming, and the other was about the yearly costs.
yes.
Right, I'm correct. So, yeah, the local company that does the streaming, they do live streaming. It's $1,000 less than what we're paying, and they come in and set it up.
Right.
They bring.
I seem to
and-
recall, there was one that I thought looked good out of the three of them, but can you put the
Was it
presentation
the-
back up on, are you able to put that back up there?
Check.
Yeah, if we,
Oh.
somebody has to turn that on for me because I'm not tall enough.
Get blinded in a minute.
A little bit.
Could be in the show, Milt.
Come on, Mel, come back here. You've been all set.
Oh, yeah, it is.
Seem to recall one that had a lot of storage space too, and that was kind of nice to think that it was going to be on their server, you know?
Yeah, unlimited storage.
Yeah.
And the reason I really like the virtual towns and schools, after 4 years, they completely redo the website at no cost, so we won't have that added cost. And I did call the owner and just talk through a little bit of the yearly cost because, you know, it was kind of like, whoa, what do we pay now just
Right.
for, and it's more than just hosting.
Right.
So that cost really is, I mean, he just really impressed upon the importance of safety and his company, like the safety, it's just not, they're just not kind of hosting you somewhere. It's,
Right.
and updating. So optimization is really important. And the reason we're kind of in the boat we're in, I feel, is that there hasn't been consistent updating on, you know, their end.
Right.
So that's why we're kind of like hitting a wall with maxing out on things aren't working, you
Right.
know, it's not optimized for device. And then whenever we call them, we have to pay an hourly fee. And it's 24/7, they're available, and they will do things like if we want, you know, like recently someone wanted to do a survey, and our company currently wanted to charge us to do that. They would just do that for us. They would create the whole system and tailor it for us.
Right.
So that was kind of nice. So, because I just brought that up, I was like, so what if we need something that's not included in our initial setup? And he was like, we've done it for towns because we've actually done that for a town, and we'll just openly share that with you. So that's that price. We're kind of paying for that consistent help, and which I know I'm going to need, especially in the first year, just because there's going to be so much
Right.
transition, and I'm going to be using that 24/7 phone call
like that.
quite a bit.
Virtual towns and schools too. I like the whole presentation on that one more than I did the other one.
Remember that thought too when we talk about IT support, the continuous support, because I've got some ideas too, so.
Yeah, it's nice.
Was there another slide that had the side-by-side too and talked more about, yeah, right there, okay.
Yeah.
So it was the,
I think we have actually a
that's, okay.
There's a
And
fire
so it was, I
department, and
think,
here
the
you go.
virtual towns and schools that we were,
Yep, that's the one we were leaning
that
towards.
was the one that I was the better.
And I actually called and leaned on them a little bit about the fire and rescue. You know, he said that they would do that for way under what that, because what they quoted it in here for to add in the,
1,500?
yeah, he said that he would do that for way under that. Because I really described to him what we needed in this site, and that, you know, yeah, he just was very nice about it. So just trying to get that cost down. So he said way under 15. I think even I think he quoted me something like 9.
Why is the fire department a separate website as opposed to just a part of
I know.
part of the town website?
I'm not sure why it was set up like that, but I really want to incorporate it back in, and it's just,
Yeah.
Now would be the time to do it, for sure.
yeah.
I never understood why they were two separate entities
Yeah.
either.
And it's double the work because you really have to, yeah, it's just kind of, so, to take everything and put it back into our.
Well, and I think it creates a little bit more continuity of community, and that it is all part of the same town. It's not a separate entity.
Exactly,
Awesome.
yeah.
So it costs
And
us
this is telecommunications, right? This comes out of telecommunications,
Yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah.
it's,
And they've agreed to break down the cost over 3 years if we want that, the initial cost. So because they work with so many towns, they know that it's hard to come up with that big chunk in the beginning. So we can talk about if that makes sense to do it over 3 years, or whatever the budget, you know, if you decide that this is the way you want to go. But I personally really like the idea of having someone that's kind of New England,
Right.
and a company that's in Maine that I can call up and they're actually here, and I don't wait on hold for.
that's the virtual towns and schools.
Yeah, and
yeah.
the video streaming services in Gardner, actually, they partner
Nice.
with a Maine. So I just think he was just like, I'll come right over, and I was like, well, wait, let me get approval first, but,
Well, and I think having the live streaming of the video, I think, will engage more people in watching the meetings. It's one thing to go back and watch them after everything has sort of already happened, but I think more people.
yeah, I really like that, and so many people, you know,
Use their phones, yeah.
use their phones, and it's more, I know that the channel is very important, I just feel like more people are apt to do it.
I don't even have cable anymore.
Is there a fee or a penalty, or is there gonna be any kind of a cost when we separate from the current vendor?
I don't know if, there's not a fee. We're just, the Vibit site is a very large cost, and, you know, we're gonna cut that.
So we're just gonna sever our relationship with them, and whichever company we choose, we're starting fresh.
We're starting fresh for the streaming. See, Latronics, they have things, we have other things that are related. Like we have it's like Total Info where we get our weather, like on the channel. It's just this kind of little thing that comes up. And I think we pay like $1,200 a year for just to get the weather and current news that runs for like 8 or 10 minutes before the slides. And we can decide whether we want to keep that service because that's extra, that's different from the streaming or the video site.
Will there be, I would assume that there would be a period of time where we would essentially have to pay both, because we would bring these people on board and pay the implementation fee, but until that was up and ready to go live, we would still be continuing to pay the hosting on our existing site.
Yeah, exactly. There would be an overlap, but I'm going to try my hardest I'd like to get away from the Vibit site soon, because that's a large cost.
And is this, you just said Vibit, what, the company that we use in Lewiston, what, I can't remember what their role was.
TH Creation.
Yeah.
They built the current website and they host.
Okay, so we're gonna,
Yeah.
that we would be establishing a new relationship as well.
Yep.
Okay.
It's just, we would have to keep that while our other site's
Yep.
under construction, and then we just move everything over. Well, a lot of it's going to be rewritten and redone.
Did you get a sense of a timeline of what the transition would take? I mean, what's the worst case scenario if we just cut the cord and start new, and then there is no overlap, you know? I mean, we can't watch videos online.
Site
you
under
know?
construction, yeah.
People can still come in the office and get them on a CD, you know what I mean?
That's true. I don't know, I feel like I would get a lot of kickback by that.
Most of the expenses that we incur don't come up until summer. So, you know, if we could conceivably transfer most of the stuff over by summertime and go live, then we would be able to cut out those expenses, I would assume.
Yeah, I think they gave a timeline of 4 months. That's from start to finish.
So if you guys approve it tonight,
Yeah,
then we could
I
get
can
going.
get going. I think the largest, design takes quite a while because we really want to get that right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Navigation is very important.
Does anybody have any other questions?
So do we need to make a motion on which company? And you're recommending, obviously, the virtual schools in town, so that's my motion.
I'll second it.
All those in favor? Opposed?
Yeah.
Virtual schools and towns it is.
I understood most all of that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Shannon.
Shannon, can you turn it off? Yes. Sorry.
All right.
Tax foreclosure sale.
Up and going. Keep it going.
At a previous meeting, we talked about moving forward with the tax foreclosure sale, and we have the draft documents to do that in our packet. Anybody have any questions or concerns about moving forward as presented in those documents?
I'm sorry, I missed that.
Looks good to me.
Yeah. When you send this out, are you sending all of the same stuff that you gave us, like the calendar too, or are you just gonna
No,
put
they
the
get-
date?
Let's get the letters first.
Right.
The letter
Right.
explaining what's gonna happen.
Right.
And then if I don't get anything back from them regarding the letter, then I'm gonna advertise it in the newspaper,
Right.
and we'll go through the same steps we did for all the other pieces of property that we've done.
Basically, a carbon copy of what we have here.
Yes, yeah. Those are my timelines and the
That's
minimum price
good.
and all that other kind of stuff.
No, that's fine.
Anybody want to make a motion?
Need a motion on
We
it?
need a motion.
I move that we approve Ruth to send out the letter for the tax acquired property as presented.
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Vote
Any
passes.
discussion?
Oh, any
You look like
discussion?
you had a question.
Who had a question?
Oh, look, you look like you had a question there.
No, actually, my thought in the back of my head was I have to remember to tell you guys about the properties that are, but don't worry, we'll get to that one in my section.
All right.
You
Okay.
did read my mind, though, I was thinking.
Stop.
Coastal Humane Society contract.
What's
It's the
that?
same as last year.
Is it, so it didn't go up?
Yeah, didn't go up.
Is there a motion to accept the Coastal Humane Society agreement for services?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Passes. A discussion of audit recommendations. I would turn that over to you.
So I had one of our insurance people come by to see me, and she wanted to look at the audit recommendations by our auditor last year. There were several recommendations that the auditor had. Hold on, I'm using. The segregation of duties, journal entries, credit cards, and the last one was municipal valuation return. Those were all issues that they felt we should address perhaps. The credit card one, we have addressed. We have a credit card policy. I just received the new credit cards. So we're good to go with that one. The segregation of duties.
Doesn't that kind of contradict the whole cross-training thing that we've been trying to do?
Well, the problem is it's such a small office, so it's very hard to separate
Yeah.
duties so distinctly. My biggest concern, quite frankly, is my journal entries. I make manual journal entries mostly at the end of the month for purposes of reconciling direct deposits that are put into our bank and our interest. And sometimes I'll do manual journal entries to shuffle expenses from one column if they've been misplaced. So because I'm doing these manually, most of the entries are done through cash receipting or through payroll or through accounts payable, and so they are journals that are specifically made through the computer. But the ones that I do manually, I think perhaps I need to get a select person to sit down with me so that I can explain what the manual entry is for and then have their signature actually on the journal entries so that there's somebody else who's overseeing my entries. You know, and I just thought because Mark stops by every Friday anyways, that he would be the logical candidate.
I'll second that.
Is that once a month you do that, you said, or once a week?
I usually do it once a month.
Yeah. I mean, that's not a problem, I was just trying to keep it straight in my
But
head.
anytime I have a couple actually that I put on a clipboard in my office that we can go over Friday, and you can initial for me.
Now, is that something you would need a motion or a policy on, or is that just kind of for the purposes of the auditors, or?
I think I'll probably end up writing a policy and have you guys do that. Journal entries, the only other manual journal entries processed are return checks. Pam processes the return checks, so I could actually check those and initial for the NSF. Credit cards we took care of. The municipal valuation return, that was in regard to the error that the transposal of numbers occurred that last year. And maybe somebody should, when I submit to you every year the numbers, but maybe we should have a specific representative of the select board sit down with me before we do the commitment and go over the numbers with me, just so that we make sure that I'm doing them right and that something's not just slipping through.
I think Jeff, because of that.
Yeah, he's.
I'm gonna say Jeff is a numbers guy.
Okay, that would be fine.
But he's also not here, so it's easy to.
That's what happens when you don't show.
And that was it, so, I'll write up a policy and bring it to you guys next time and we'll take care of that.
And we have an application for appointment to the Scholarship Committee. Jonathan Pollock. Is there a motion?
I would move we accept the application, or I guess that we appoint Jonathan Pollock to the Scholarship Committee.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
And just to put it out there, they're still looking for 2 more members.
All right. Departments and committees, code enforcement.
Put the night like tonight for a 2-page report.
Thanks.
A couple of things. The first paragraph's just general interest about some of the permits and stuff that are kind of going on around town. You guys can look at that, and just if you want to ask me later about some of that. There is quite a bit of the subdivision lots in town that have been absorbed this year, and that seems to be becoming a trend. So I'm expecting that to have some influence going forward on development and land use and stuff. There's going to be some pressure coming up that Durham's becoming a pretty opportunistic place for that type of application, and I think we're going to see that soon. I did the signage for Runaround Pond Park is getting kind of, it's needing a little work. So I put in paragraph 2, there's a proposal that I put together. I think that we should approach some of the community businesses that utilize the park on a regular basis and would like to see more happen there. I know LL Beans uses that park as a principal application and not a backup. I know that the Royal River Land Trust that has purchased some land adjacent to there wants to do some future development for recreational purposes there. And I'd like to see a nice sign in there, and so I'd like to try to see if I can't solicit some additional donation funds for that particular purpose. And then I was offering to do some carving on the sign. I can carve it or make the sign blank and carve it. I won't put any money in materials, but as far as the carving and the labor, I'd be happy to donate that. So if we can get some financial donations from some of the other folks to cover the painting, and the Public Works can do the install, we might be able to get a new sign for the park there that would, it's looking better with the privy now. It'd be nice to keep sort of putting, and a lot of people use the park. I'm amazed at how many people utilize it. So I think it's a good place to put a little, dress it up a little bit.
I think it sounds great.
And it's getting utilized, so.
Better hope they don't use it too much till the ice gets froze, but.
It'll be personal.
Yeah.
No moose this year, though. It's falling through the ice.
Yeah.
So working with a lot of the builders around town, I've had some interesting experiences over the last month or so. We did some training on the new 2015 codes that are expected to come, and there's a couple of publications that we got that are sort of, they're more of an abbreviated version of the building code. They're more visually oriented. They're pretty easy to read, pretty easy to get to really quickly, and it covers a lot of the stuff that I usually inspect for on the job site. So I've been introducing this to the builders, and several of them have embraced this really quickly and bought multiple copies of the book for themselves and their site crews. I've actually had an opportunity to sit down with one of the builders here that works in town with their design team to work on understanding a lot of the application of that particular publication and how to better produce plans for buildings that are, a little more in line. There's stuff they need to understand that most of them don't, and they've been really responsive in that. It's actually been pretty interesting. So I know that Jeffrey at least had talked to me earlier on, not long after I had started, about working towards some of this, and it looks like we're finally getting to that place where it's a really rewarding thing from my side of the table to have folks want to know what the code is. My biggest problem with most of the builders in town is they don't know the code, they haven't looked at the code, they haven't read the code. What they just expect is me to tell them what to do, and I want them to know the book. I want them to know what it is they're supposed to do, and this is a book that's a lot easier to understand and read. It's been very helpful for them. They can get to the information quick, and there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. So that part's been pretty good. I do think that I'd like the board to consider making my position a department. I know in the comprehensive plan that was produced when it was produced 14 years ago mentioned that codes would eventually, and fairly soon at that time, would become a code/planning department, that the town of Durham was gonna need to have that type of application and that type of personnel taking care of that. It's a little difficult for Ruth, because there's a lot of what I do that she doesn't know and shouldn't know, shouldn't be expected to know. So I don't know what it takes, if it's a formal thing that has to be done through town meeting, or if it's something that the board has control over, but I'm doing all of the stuff that a department does for the town, and I think it would be prudent to move that into its own space.
I agree. Who do we find out about that, Ruth? Do we have to check with someone, or do we need to go out of town,
I'm sure it's town meeting.
go to town meeting, or do we?
Yeah, for forming, even though it's a small town, we're forming a new department, it would be just like the public works, we're forming a new department, they'd have to prove that.
Right.
It might be a mere technicality, but they still,
Yep.
I believe they do.
One of the other things that came to mind for me in regards to performance, and in particular for my position and not necessarily my person, I think it would be advisable for the board to put out questionnaires to the committees and stuff that I sit on, to find out, and whoever the CEO is, to find out how their performance is being managed in the areas that they're asked to work in town. There's a lot that I do that's not very visual. Most of what you guys hear are complaints, which makes sense. People that don't like what you're doing have a tendency to squeak louder than the people that are happy you showed up. But it would give you a better idea, one, of what it is that I do and how well the position is being managed. And you have some really high-quality committees in town. You got some really good people. It'd be good to have their input, whether it's positive or negative. It'd be really good to have their input, and I would encourage that.
You asked for it.
I did. There's two land water conservation fund grants that had been given to the town of Durham. One was, I believe, in 1996 for a playground structure before the present school building was built. The other one was for improvements on the river park. These properties under this grant agreement with the state need to have an assessment done every 5 years, and it's been neglected for a considerable amount of time. Doug Beck got to me and asked about having this done, and Ruth and I did a little bit of research to find out that the playground property had been kind of reworked when they did the school, and that the RSU is now in charge of the portion of the property that was granted. So with the discussions with Doug, we went to speak with Becky, the superintendent of schools, for the RSU, and we transferred that responsibility for that portion of that particular grant over to the school. So we won't have that now, and then I updated and finalized this inspection report for the 5-year classification for River Park. So we're kind of back on track with that.
Terrific, thank you.
So I think, for the most part, I think that's all I have. Do you have anything for me?
Any questions?
Merry
Anybody else
Christmas.
have any questions?
Thanks, Paul.
Thanks, Paul.
You're not
Fire
running away
chief?
though, are you?
Pardon?
You're not running away though.
Did you want to talk about the Durham Leisure Center piece of property under
That would
your,
probably be good.
under your office or under Ruth's office? Or we can just do it
All right,
to,
let's do it now. Yeah.
Let's do it now
That way
while you're
I'm not
here.
interrupting anybody else. So in the process, Durham Leisure Campground is in the process of upgrading the campground and adding camping sites. And in doing so, they came to the planning board for an expansion of their conditional use permit. In the expansion paperwork that they brought forward from the survey that was done by Brian Smith previous to their ownership, it showed up that there's a small parcel of land adjacent to their property along the old road that belongs to the town. It was initially given to the school district at the time in the 1880s. And when that school district was dissolved, I'm of the understanding that the properties that the school district owned in town came to town ownership. It doesn't belong to the present school system, it belongs to the town. The property's location on their site interfered with the setback requirements for 2 of their campgrounds, for their campsites that they wanted in their expansion, so they weren't allowed by the planning board to add those 2 particular campsites into their expansion, however they would like to. I understand that they've come to the board and asked the board about that particular piece of property. Short of what was deeded to the town by the road being abandoned legally, there was only about 3,800 square feet of land. So with the additional, probably 18 or 20 feet by 100 feet or so, it's probably doubled that size. So we're less than a quarter of an acre. The only value that land is to anybody is to those 2 properties that abut that property. So there's no structure on it anymore. There's been some material has been dumped there. It looks like it was dumped there purposefully and on that particular spot. I don't know what. There's a little bit of trash in there and so on, but not anything significant that I saw when I visited the site. I think it's probably a really good idea to turn it over to the folks that are running the campground, to put it kind of back in track with what it needs to do, but I don't feel that it's necessary for the town to incur any costs in contributing to their business. I don't think that the property has any monetary value, so I wouldn't consider it out of line to just, if they were to bear all of the costs incurred by transferring it over to them, that they have it, as long as it doesn't cost the taxpayers anything.
Right, and when they came to our meeting, our last meeting, we had indicated that in theory, we had no problem with it, but we just had to make sure that it was something that we were legally had the right to do, that there were no other entanglements on the property or anything on the deed or any requirements.
Do you want to pay for the fees?
Yeah, I think it's as long as it's done the way he says.
Yeah, and you've done some research, or you're waiting for an answer on that or something?
Well, I gave Sarah 2 different ideas as far as contracts with the Durham Leisure Holdings that I was thinking that we could do. Basically, it's just promising that provided nothing's found that would be an issue, that we would give them or sell them the property for $1. And then they would cover all of the closing costs and any costs that the town incurred, which would mean lawyer fees and things like that. I hesitated, and Paul kind of made this clear to me, hesitated to call the lawyer before we got anything in writing, so that we would be reimbursed for that cost. And actually, you tell me if I'm wrong, Sarah, but my assumption is he's probably going to want a lawyer too, and so his lawyer is probably going to do the due diligence of doing the research. And
I can't speak to whether or not they will use a lawyer or not. They may just figure, here's the deed, it's a piece of land, nobody is using it. So I have no idea what their approach would be.
An informative call to the town attorney would cost the town money.
Right.
Right.
And I just didn't seem to think that the town should incur any cost in this. If that's
Right, and I think that we talked about that at the last meeting. I'd have to look at the minutes, but I thought we kind of said to him, as long as it doesn't cost the town any, we're not going to pay to do the research and do
Give you the land.
the due diligence.
Right.
and
It
give you the
also
lands.
seemed prudent to get something a little more concrete than a handshake, that if we make a phone call to find out if the deed's transferable, you need to cover the cost of
Right.
that.
Right.
So I
And
think
you haven't called
written
the lawyer
agreement.
yet?
I have not called the lawyer yet.
It probably, I know you and I talked about that a little bit after I talked with Paul, but, and I know we did talk to the gentleman and his wife about incurring the cost, but probably that's a good idea if we get them to put it right that they will incur the cost. It could be 500, it could be 2,000, who knows, but.
Right, and under state law, all land transactions have to be in writing anyway.
Right. So as long as they're willing to incur whatever the costs are, I mean, if he spent 2,000, I don't know what it would cost. Maybe it spent 5, but the amount of return he's gonna get on the extra lots for camping, for what I know camping sites cost, he's gonna get his money back the first year anyways, but
And it's prudent, it'd be his decision to
Right.
make, but my only concern is that it's, if the only person getting an advantage out of this is him, the
Right.
taxpayers shouldn't be involved in
No, I agree.
in occurring anything from it.
Yeah.
It's a landlocked piece of land that's not big enough to do anything under ordinance, regardless of its age. There's no way to get to it. There's
Right.
there's no legal access to it anymore or anything else, so. And I do think it'd be a good gesture on the town's part to, they have an opportunity to make it add to their usability of their own property. Seems prudent.
Yeah, I mean, over time, we get a little more tax dollars.
According to the assessor, I think it's somewhere in the neighborhood of 53 cents.
Well, see, it might take.
And I think that was a 3-year assessment.
Yeah. So that would be my suggestion, is to call and make sure he's aware of that, and have him come in and sign a slip saying, yes, he will incur those costs, and then we can move forward. And ask him if he wants to get his lawyer to take care of it, or however we want to
Right,
handle it.
if he wants to engage a private lawyer to do it, or if he
Right.
wants to pay the town's attorney to do it. Calvin?
The question I would have is, do we have a policy? Does the town have a policy about conveying land? Does it have to go out to bid?
Yeah, we do.
So in this case, it would be kind of odd, because you don't want to only use when we release these. I mean, any interest we have, we're releasing, or quitclaim these without coming to us.
Right.
But the
So-
policy is only that the board has at their own discretion how to disperse of
Yeah.
what's called surplus property. There is no actual format for that. You
Right.
just guys get to make prudent decision.
So actually, I just read that.
It's in the,
Something just recently, I read it.
comes through every year on the warrant.
Yeah. Yes, it does come, but just last week I read it here somewhere, the same thing, and maybe it was on that other piece that we just talked about.
Right.
Okay.
So, my sense of the consensus is to give them a call, and as long as they're willing to sign that agreement saying that they'll incur any costs, that we move forward to. Okay.
All set? Am I free to go?
You are now free to go. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Paul.
Before you get started, Fire Chief, I can go back to the payable warrants. I could ask some questions on that. Before you get on to yours. For you.
Oh, okay. Yep.
I see we spent some money at Northeast Emergency Apparatus. Engine 21, what do we do to that? That costs $2,100.
Engine 21?
Yeah, it says engine 21.
Oh, valves. It was the result of the pump test. We had to have work done on the valves, the
On the pumps.
intakes. Yeah, on the pumps.
And truck 29?
Yeah, tank 29, yeah. There were two of them that we had with valve work done on and
So-
stuff.
so,
So
yeah.
it was a result of the pump test.
I take truck 24, that was the wire harness.
Yeah, it was the exploratory for the wiring harness.
Oh,
It
so
wasn't
that-
actually that's not the
just-
big one.
That's just to nail us, this is
Yeah,
what it needs.
that's just, hey, this is what
That's
it
even
is.
tough,
We
yeah,
need to
yeah.
take it into the shop. I can assure you the big one is, I'm not sure where it's gonna end up, labor or what else they use, but I know right up front, the wiring harness was $2,750 or something like that, so. Yeah.
Yep, no problem, just a couple questions on that. So I guess payable warrants is set for that.
Do I have a motion to approve the warrant?
I make a motion to accept the payable warrants as stated.
Second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Okay, we're now ready for.
Now it's my turn?
Yep.
Okay, well, start this around, this is our result of our shape inspection, the report. It's, when it gets to Bruce, it's for the file copy here at the town office and stuff. Mike's flooring was in today, we have floor tiles on the floor again, so everybody that's worked on it seems to think that it more than likely has cured it, so I hope that is correct, that it has cured it. I do need to strip and wax that floor area with the new tiles and stuff, and try to blend it with the old and seal it with the old. So as part of it, what I actually had him give me was a proposal to strip and wax all the floors, tile floors in the station. And it was $1,000 is what they gave me for a proposal. They figure it's gonna take them about 4 days to break it down into reasonable blocks so they can get in there, strip it, and put on the layers of wax and buff it and stuff. It's $1,000 for the 4 days. What I'd actually like to do is I'd like to
put it, I'd like to get authorization to move forward with it one way or the other. We need to protect the floors, but the other side of it is I'd actually like to use some of the revenues that are left from the capital projects aspect of it, at least on the meeting room floor, and hopefully on the rest of the floors. Because I think all those projects were there, I think you had money left over from the whole thing, right?
Yeah, it should be right around 12,000, I think, off the top of my head. That sound right, Ruth?
I should have it right in front of me,
I
but
got
my
that
eyes
printed
aren't
out
working
here
very
somewhere.
well.
I think it's around
Yep,
$12,825.32. And everything else, because we didn't have enough in the painting line to do the extra painting, and actually I've addressed that. I've got a couple of guys that are coming in and doing a little at a time on the inside painting and stuff. They've actually got most of the red taken care of in the bays. Actually, if you read my report, it's the report that I issued to the department and stuff like that. It's actually in there. It's Gary and Curtis have been doing a lot of the wall painting in the station. So the red's been done out in the bays, not the white up above, but the red's been done, and they're working on the meeting room areas now. So for the most part, everything that was planned has been accomplished. At least at what was anticipated, if not beyond what was anticipated. So yeah. So there's no other expense. The only other expense that's outstanding is Mike's flooring bill, which was authorized at the last meeting. $879, I think, off the top of my head.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
So that would be the only other item that come out of there. All the rest of the bills have been submitted for that project.
So you've made money,
Yeah.
so to
Yep.
speak.
Yep. It was already in the savings account. It just stays in the savings account, I guess, this way. But anyways, I'd like to, if the board would consider authorizing me to do that, I want to do it out of the operating budget, even if you guys aren't good with doing it out of the capital budget. I need to do it on the meeting room floor, but it'll help save we haven't done it on the rest of the floors for quite some time.
And do you have the money in the operating budget to do it?
My operating budget's pretty deceiving most of the time, because I think asked me about those, yeah, this time of year it tends to, a bunch of my inspections tend to come due and stuff like that, so it tends to, and then I get the northeast one and stuff, so, I may have, I'm not positive, I've looked at it a couple of times, and I've got payroll, I've got the northeast one, I've got a little bit of a, gear stuff out there besides my standard expenses and stuff. I don't think there's anything really major in any of the other lines, so yeah, it's gonna be close. I'm assuming, does this incorporate
That's just through November.
tonight? Yeah, so it doesn't incorporate what's on there for tonight.
No.
No, because
Yeah.
tonight was probably,
2,000.
yeah, well, it was, US Health Works alone was $38.50, I believe, for the December 3rd thing, so, yeah. Then the equipment maintenance repair, so I'm assuming on this warrant here, there was probably 8,000 to 10,000, somewhere in that vicinity. I have at least one more payroll, part-time pay to do, yeah. Quick one's not fun, okay, there it is. Might have, it's definitely gonna drive building maintenance higher off the charts, but, might have, if that's the board's preference, to take it out of there rather than capital. If I have the money there, I'm fine with doing it that way.
You
And
asked
it's
me-
gonna end up in the capital.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you don't spend it here, it'll end up
Either
in
way,
the capital
yeah.
anyway.
Well, that's what I was
so
gonna
it's-
ask, if you had a concern or not,
Oh, no, I
Okay.
just,
but I don't have any problem.
Yeah, I'm fine with taking it. It's just gonna drive the building maintenance line a little higher, but that really doesn't matter. On that end, it serves the same purpose.
I think ultimately I misheard you. I thought you said you'd prefer to take it out of operating, which is why
Well, no,
there was.
my thoughts were, is I gotta do the meeting room floor as part of the capital, so why not do the whole thing simultaneously? But as we're sitting here discussing it, in all honesty, it probably makes more sense to take it out of the operating budget, even though it's gonna drive that building maintenance line further off the charts if there's enough money in the overall budget, because I'm held to the bottom line,
Right.
not to each account line, so probably makes more sense to take it out of there in the first place.
Next.
Are you trying to talk yourself out of this already?
Well, no, I still want to get you to approve the expenditure, if you would.
No, go do it.
Okay,
yeah.
All right.
As I'm concerned.
Yep.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
But you guys did talk me out of the other one.
Second.
Third.
Is your motion specific to which account you?
I would assume operating,
Operating,
right,
okay.
possible operating. Does that make sense to put it in the motion if possible operating? Which I
Yeah.
think, based on the bottom line, it probably will fit. It's just gonna drive that.
Make a motion to take it out of the operation budget.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
It's gonna get done one way or another.
Thanks. Dry hydrant on Beaver Woods, that's actually been repaired. Calvin, Public Works guys did a great job down there working on it and stuff. It was actually a kind of a raw, cold, nasty day, but it was still an enjoyable project. But most of the growth has been cleaned up in the pond. Talked to Calvin some about it and to the homeowners, and I think maybe when things dry up, we can go back and get the rest of the impounded water supplies. Cat nine-tails build up in them bad, and what they eventually do is all the foliage coming down and stuff collects in them, and you lose. You don't necessarily lose your volume. You lose some of your volume, but it tends to clog everything up. It slows things down. Yeah, so you really need to. In anything that's impounded, we really need to stay after. So, but for right now, it's good. I haven't been back down there in a couple of days to see how it's filling up, but it was over the intake when actually that day it was over the intake. So I'm assuming that we'll fill back up. So that one's done and Rabbit Road is done. Shape inspection, there was a packet I passed around. The shape inspection, they came in on the 28th. They wanted to come back, take a look at a couple of things. In all honesty, I think they wanted to check and make sure we were having them do the flow test on our SCBA's, which was scheduled for Thursday. And they came back in on Thursday, and a report came out with we had no labor hazards, and therefore what that makes us eligible for, we did initial and we renewed once. If you on your third time around you come up with no hazards, you end up being eligible for 4-year renewal. So ours will be a 4-year renewal. It will not expire until November of 2020 before they are scheduled. I mean, if we can always do something wrong, but before they're scheduled to come back for an inspection. I actually think that some of that may assist both with risk services and perhaps workers' comp, where we've managed to achieve that. Maybe we can keep that in mind whenever we're negotiating the department insurance rates and the workers' comp insurance rates.
Okay.
Truck 24, we talked about that. That was the exploratory you have. It had been completed, but I don't have the invoice for it yet. That's all squared around. The SCBA flow test, as I alluded to, they were completed that Thursday, December 1st. So that's done. I don't think I have the invoice for that. I don't think the invoice was on that yet, so it's one I didn't mention. Annual medical evaluations, they were done on December 3rd. Actually, they were in pretty good shape. We only have maybe a couple of people outstanding to still get done, which that's pretty rare. Usually it takes me a month or two to get them taken care of. Fit testing started. We're probably halfway done fit testing. We have the annual mandatories are scheduled for December 29th, and at that time, I think we'll probably be in the same boat with the fit testing, down to just a handful of people to get fit tested, and that'll be done. Kitchen hoods, those were inspected about a week ago, both at the station and at the community center. I think that invoice is on the warrant for both of them. So that's it.
Terrific, thank you. Any questions for the chief?
Thank you.
Thanks, Chief.
Thank you.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah, you guys too. Good evening.
All right, road commissioner, get up here.
All the trucks good to go?
We're all going.
Excellent.
Well, all but one. All but one. We're working on that one.
Stuck in one. I got stuck on a list. I was stuck in the plow truck. in the morning.
If you ain't out doing that, you'll be doing something else.
I wanted to sleep, what I wanted to do. I stayed up for the Cowboys game till midnight, then they called me at 1:30. Wow.
Oh, yeah, that's nice.
I called my guys at 12:30, so you've got an hour.
I noticed someone wasn't coming in, so that's when they called me. All right, where we started?
I'll start with the report here, so.
All right.
Well, if you wanna, we can just look at this real quick, the Pownell to Durham, and the Durham to Pownell.
Yep.
This is where we're at with the collaboration between the two, with the departments.
You don't need a truck or nothing for anything, right?
No, we owe them 1557.41. So you can see this breakdown of when it occurred, how it occurred, and what happens is we were within, you know, $300, and
The grading.
then the grading just.
Yep.
So as we do the grading, once they make a round, it's like $1,500. So
So if we can fatten it up next year, and get a little bit more, and so you so you know the grading's coming, then you'll be there.
yeah. So
Do we,
I thought you guys were going to discuss this. I don't know. Jeff's.
check with Pownell to see if they want to settle this up before the end of the fiscal year, or if they want to carry it into next year?
Well, just write them on IOU. Yeah, that sounds good to me.
Yeah, make it up next year, however they want to. I mean, if you give me time, I can balance it out, but just.
Well, I know our books close in
I hear what you're saying.
a couple of weeks, so just,
Right.
so as long as we have what the plan moving forward, so we
Where are
don't
we
care
at?
the
Wasn't there,
auditors.
where are we at as far as time? Because isn't there like an agreement that it's like every quarter or something like that we would square up? I thought.
Oh, they want to do
It's a year,
it,
I
we're fine
think,
with us. Fine with me anyways, I don't know you guys.
Yeah, same here.
I just want to make sure that when Ruth closes out the book, she knows what to do with all of these things and isn't left tearing her hair out on.
It's already started, Sarah.
So, this street application, permits, entrance application, I put this together so that we didn't have one, and I just have been trying to get this,
Looks pretty
trying
good.
to get this together, and I finally found the time to, well, I didn't find it, but I made the time to get it done, so. Now, I mean, we just have so many of them out there. It seems all of a sudden we're issuing there's a lot of houses being built. And so, and I would caution you while we're on that topic, that the town may want to consider before, I think that we're on the verge of another building boom, and I think you might want to consider the difference between Durham and Pownell is tremendous in the amount of. They have a lot less roads, they don't have the responsibility, financial responsibility of, I mean, all these small subdivision roads, they're all due to be rebuilt, and they're gonna cost us a fortune. So Pownell just has a policy, they don't accept public roads. Build it any way you want them, we're not gonna take it. And so I don't know if you guys wanna consider that, but that's why we're in the boat we're in, it's gonna cost us.
Right, I think we've,
That was already
Yeah,
done by
I don't think
town.
we do accept them
we don't, I
anymore.
don't think we accept anymore.
Okay.
There was a time when we was forcing the builders to build them at Town Spec Road, a certain thing, and it was kind of a spoken, unspoken rule that if they did what we asked,
You take the road.
we would accept it. Now, I didn't really necessarily think, and I mean, I wasn't on the board then, but I, as a public person or taxpayer, I didn't really necessarily always agree with that. But what I did agree with was if you tell them that you're gonna, then I feel that you should, and that's kind of what we've done. But I think we've stopped
I
that
think
now.
we've stopped that.
Okay.
They can bring up the specs, then we allow them to build up that, and give them the permits, but we don't take the road over.
I think we've wanted to build the road up to the specs it should, because who knows what'll happen down the road.
Right.
So that at least the base and all that stuff's there, but they're under their own, they gotta take care of their own plowing and all that. I believe that's the way it has been, the last 3 or 4 years.
With the driveway application, is there any requirement, whether it's DOT or planning, our existing land use ordinances, about sightlines or anything, so that driveways are going in places that have reasonable visibility and those kinds of?
Well, I took the ordinance that was passed last summer at town meeting, and I wrote this according to that ordinance. So I made this align with that. But yes, there is, in fact, in the ordinance, there is a provision that DOT has a standard, and ours is pretty much the same, that you have to have so many feet. Our ordinance does say that if the lot was in existence prior to this ordinance, that it's grandfathered. Then at that point, I just say, you know, take the best we can possibly get. I mean, if you can put it further away from the curb, I want it as far as you can get it, but, and I have that authority, but, so that's, if it's a new lot you're creating, it has to have, it's for every 10 miles an hour, it has to have 100 feet of sight distance. So if it's 35, they've got to be able to see 350 feet.
Okay.
So DOT does their own, we don't issue those.
Got
We're
it.
not allowed to, so,
No, I just didn't know if there was some standard as far as
yeah.
visibility for.
Yeah.
I think ours is a minimum of 300 right now, isn't it?
It's just whatever the,
I think that's what it's been.
It's 100
minimum
feet.
of 300, but,
Yeah.
I mean, this makes sense.
It's what DOT uses, it's the same standard. If you're going 25 miles an hour, then you don't need to
250
see
feet.
350 feet. You know, 250 feet would be sufficient.
Right.
So that's how that works. But this aligns with the ordinance, so now let's, I've been just kind of letting them put them in and tell them I want to inspect it before they get there. And, you know, just, it's getting out of hand. There's just too many of them. I don't know what's going on all of a sudden, but this seems like a lot of builders are coming in seems like they're picking up these lots. And I mean, I just talked to somebody up on Auburn Pound Road. She had to pay $100,000 for 2 lots because there are no lots for sale in there, and just to build houses on to sell them. So this sounds like the building boom all over again. So Durham's in high demand.
Maybe they know something we don't.
Yeah, my house has come up for sale soon.
Yeah. So that's what that is together, and hopefully this will make things a lot easier moving forward. I probably will change that front box to say return to, and I'll probably put code enforcement, so that it comes from them with the building permit application. They fill it out, they return it to him, he puts it in my box.
Yeah.
Then I take it and go out, and then I put in this box that says for town use only. I fill in what I want there, I sign it off. I sign off that top line as approved permit, and then when it's under the final inspection at the bottom, I'll sign off that it's been final inspected, and then it's done. Because what we've had all over town is we got culverts with that much cover over them, and then they're all heaved with the driveways, and
Now, do they have to get a permit if they're gonna cut wood off the land?
a temporary, it would be called a temporary
Do they gotta
access.
get a permit for that?
There's
You know they're gonna leave it there. They ain't like they're gonna take the culvert out when they leave.
No, they
You know what I mean?
should, they should put a culvert in, temporary, it should be a temporary permit, and that's why it says here, it says explain what it's for, and, you know, if it's, you know, what it's, if it's commercial or,
So temporary culverts, when they put them in, they take them back out when they're done? Is that what
yeah,
that means?
yeah, that's what it,
Okay, I was just wondering. I see one in really across my driveway, so that's why I'm asking.
yeah.
And they have that much cover on top of it, huh?
Yeah, and then somebody will use that for a driveway.
Right,
to
then
the
you're right,
house,
you're-
And then I
well,
own
you're
it because,
talking-
oh, that's a town, you know, the town owns that. So we don't wanna do that. So that's that. We did that. So, number 1, wrapped up ditching, we gave up. We thought for sure I thought we'd get through December of ditching, and it became apparent that that's not gonna happen, so.
Cold weather coming.
No, we're told, we went to the class in Portland for the snow and ice control, and we were told that that's, next year's not coming back, it's gonna be a non-El Nino year, the jet stream's
Yep.
coming up, it's gonna be cold, a lot of snow.
Really, Merle was there.
Yeah,
I know what they were trying to say.
He says, winter starts next Thursday, which was this past Thursday. So, they can tell all that stuff, and so we gave up on the idea that we were gonna be ditching into January and February. Entire crew been working on equipment for the plow season, getting the trucks ready, out and going. We've had them all out and going except for one. It'll take about 2.5 days to get that one finished up. We've had a second salt delivery, and we got that in the shed. We got our first liquid de-icing. That was what the budget committee was asking about, and there'll be another one coming right off next week. And so we've been mixing our salt, treating our salt with that. That's the ice begone made of molasses and beet juice, and
Smells like cookies and the number 6, be submitting the DEP Smart Stream Crossing Grant application this week. Those will be, the next round is picked, they gotta be in by January, so that's, next week we'll be putting that in. Find out in the spring, I guess, if we were successful. Still looking for on-call drivers for the winter. Anybody knows anybody that wants to get in a plow truck and drive?
But you have a new hire?
We have a new hire person, but we don't have any new temporaries. We don't have any
Right.
new on-call people, no.
How long you had the new guy yet?
The new guy has been there for 3 weeks,
Weeks.
three weeks.
Yeah, maybe 3 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks.
So that all went pretty quick then?
Yeah,
Good.
it's all working good.
Getting the hang of plowing and.
Oh, yeah, he'll be plowing your road next, so. So you'll find out. I'll be the first, you'll be the first to let me know, I'm sure.
Just gotta put a heavier mailbox up.
Yes,
So I decided to, in the first couple of storms, I could see that we're having trouble with that hill on 125 going off when you cross the bridge, going up the hill on both sides.
Brickyard Hill. Yeah.
It's just, well, the hill on 125.
Yeah,
125 is
Oh, yeah.
On the corner.
Cars, because I was seeing as the driver hits it with the ice be gone and the salt, and then it slimes up and greases up, and then, it's an hour before he gets, an hour and a half before he gets back there again. So in an hour and a half, you've got greasy, slimy, so well, this isn't, I don't like this. So we've had a couple of calls. People would call in and say, hey, the road's slippery and the hill's slippery, they can't get up over it. So what I did is I came up
I've
with
slid off there twice.
Yeah.
Not this year, but I mean,
the past.
I think last year and the year before, I slid off there twice.
So I came
Right
up
into the
with
guardrail. That's scary, right next to the river.
Yeah, so I came up with a plan, and we tried it this last storm, and it works, is overlapping, so the truck on this side, instead of going across the bridge and turning around, the truck on Route 9 side comes down, crosses over, goes up 125, turns around at Day Road, and the truck on 125 side crosses over and goes up and turns around at Cedar Pond Road. So you're hitting those hills twice as often, two different trucks hitting it at different, and that seemed to work. So I think we're gonna stay with that. The drivers liked it, the hills stayed bare, and
Yeah, that's it. It's that there's certain spots in town where it's just,
it's
you
just
gotta stay right
that's
on
the
top
one
of
where you
them,
got those two hills that,
Yeah.
to get into Durham, you got those two hills either way.
Right.
Once you're in, you're all set, but
Right.
it's getting in here. So hopefully that is going to alleviate some issues with that. Legal opinion from MMA. There is in the local roads manual, they give you a statute and they tell you that you have to, that you can use to say you can't put snow in the road. Well, I read the statute and that's not what it says. The statute simply says if there's snow in the road, that the town is obligated to remove it. And that there's penalties if they don't. The town is obligated to remove snow from the road. And it's an old antiquated law from back when they were rolling snow and, it's one of those,
Just all my time.
yeah, so, I think it was, I don't think that it was the right statute, either they got the wrong one, but at any rate, I couldn't use that one, but as soon as we get done plowing, it never fails, like yesterday. And along comes 5 o'clock, or 4 o'clock, and now all of a sudden we've got our roads all cleaned up, we're getting ready to go home, we're thinking we're getting them, and then everybody comes home and starts pushing the snow across the road. Or they just come home and start snow blowing it right into the road, because they assume that we're just gonna, but what they don't understand is we've got salt on the road, and that's all treated, and it's all working in sync with timing, and now, that snow now dilutes the salt, and now we're gonna have one spot with ice, and, now we gotta come back to hit that spot, and, the drivers get very frustrated, and.
I thought there was a
I
law
can,
that
well,
you
I can
couldn't
take a
do
quick
that.
look at the statutes.
Well,
when I
that
get home.
statute didn't match, so I need a statute. I need something I can actually cite that says you can't put snow in, because the one that Maine Local Roads puts out
Doesn't
is,
say that.
no, they give us the statute, but you read it, and you'll agree that all it says is if there's snow on the road, town's gotta remove it, so I
Yeah,
don't know if they.
I'll take a look at that.
So if you can find something, I need something that actually, I'm sure there must be something that you can't block a town road, but I just don't know how to find it, so.
I always thought there was, but
Well, based on the statute I'm seeing, there is nothing in that particular statute. Not saying there isn't one, but I would think it's probably something broader than more than just snow. It probably just says you can't block it. There
Right.
must be something that says you can't block a town road or
Can't put
impede
debris in the
or put
road.
a hazard or so.
So is that something you're gonna check with, or you want Ruth to check with MMA?
Well, I think I could maybe call them and get a free, I think that's something they would provide for.
You can get a legal opinion for free from them, yeah. I can send you their email address.
Yeah, but if anybody else has any, if you know where they're.
Yeah, I mean, I can just take a
I
quick
don't know if
look at
Lisbon's
it.
got one. I just want to put a form letter together that when I see it happen, I can just put it in the mail.
Do the road commissioners have a listserv where you ask all the other road commissioners
Mhm.
question? You could try that.
Yeah, try it. Just,
We aim to please, we put double back.
yeah. I just don't, have you guys seen the?
I've always, and I thought I heard this from road commissioner in the past, that it's illegal to do that.
Right, I'd always heard that.
Because sometimes they don't just spread it out there. Even on my road, there's some guys come out there and there's big round balls of snow, some of them are hard, they just leave it in the
They
middle
leave
of
them
the
in
road.
the road.
You can't do, you shouldn't be able to
Well,
do
I'm
that.
thinking what they're thinking is that we're gonna come back through and get it, and that's just.
But even still, they shouldn't do that.
Shouldn't do
Yeah,
that.
because anybody could come in the meantime.
It's like, I saw one yesterday, I just on Old Brunswick Road, I just don't understand. I mean, push it across the road and just leaves these big burns,
Right,
don't even clean it up. If they cleaned it up, I almost.
Right, yeah,
Could
this-
almost
yeah.
see it, but, I mean, to just leave it there, a total disregard to traveling public and, so.
I pushed mine out I pushed a little bit out to the end of my driveway the other day, just getting ready to tuck it back in around the corner where I usually do in town. Plow guy came by and pushed it back in the driveway for me. I was sitting there, I knew he was gonna, because I didn't have a chance quite to get it. And I said, I know he's gonna, but it wasn't no big deal. I knew it was coming.
He must not have known it was a selectman, it must have been the new guy.
No, he knew me. He waved, I knew it was coming. It was my fault. I thought I was quicker than that.
No. So, we gotta deal with that. This year, I wanna deal with that. It's been on my board since last year to get that letter, but, I need the statute to send to him, so. Then this crew, we attended a snow and ice control class, and we learned, we were reminded of the same thing, but we had a new guy there to train. I had a new guy from Powell we had to train, so it felt pretty good. So that's all.
But overall, it went pretty smoothly for the first big snow event of the year.
Yeah, went fine. We just, we're down one truck, but we'll get that one going here in the next 2 days. It'll be done this week, so.
Do you have a driver for it?
Well, the driver that drove it last year, Ron, and when they don't have him, I will find someone to.
Oh, no, I mean, I knew that you were down to a part-time driver, so I didn't
Yeah.
know if you
Well,
had
worst
enough,
case scenario, Ron.
enough bodies to put in the trucks.
Yeah, well, I have some options I'm looking at, some people I'm talking to, and some people that work for Crooker that are getting laid off for the winter, and so I got a meeting Thursday to try to nail that down. They said, well, we gotta have him back, I said, well, that's, we won't keep him. Doesn't snow in June, you can have him.
I'm still waiting on the spreadsheet you can have for me for the man hours and stuff we have on those roads. I know you said you were working on it, but I can see, since you said you're done ditching, you should be able to wrap that up then.
Yep, we'll get on that, and I'll get that for you.
Okay. I know you have to probably talk to Ruth about the correct amount for the hours.
Yeah.
Hourly pay with all the pennies we give them.
Yeah.
So I'd like to have that so I can see how much it costs us per.
Well, I can tell you, we just finished 2 roads, and in fact, I just had a meeting to give them some final payments on Pownell, and my God, I'll tell you, it's so much easier with our own crew. You have to babysit every move, and then stuff isn't done right, and you gotta, it's incredible.
I'm just thinking, there's one thing to be easy, another thing to
Yeah.
be, that's cost-wise
Right.
to the town.
Yeah.
But if you get that to me, great.
Yeah, I will. Anything else?
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Calvin.
Where's Jeff? Where's Jeff at?
He's
Oh, it was in the
Arizona.
consent agenda,
Oh,
but
okay,
we
all
can-
right. Okay, I didn't see that one in there. That's all right.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Have a good
Yeah.
Christmas.
Thanks, Calvin. Merry Christmas.
You too?
Jeff, it's a lovely week to be in Phoenix.
Is that where he is? I've noticed his car's been in the yard. I've been gonna ask what's going on. His car's not moving. Now it's got snow on it, so I know he's not moving his car.
Administrator.
Yep.
Short,
I don't,
sweet.
I'm gonna be really short and really sweet. This is just a
Short
list.
anyways.
So, we're at that time of year again. Foreclosure is Friday. These are the last 5 properties. One's in bankruptcy, so we can't foreclose on it. One we waive every year, that's the dump. 2 of them have mortgages, so we're expecting payment for those on Thursday, and the third one, we're assuming that we'll get paid for. The notices have all been delivered. So that's where we are.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, thank you very much. Next.
That's it. Anybody got any questions for me?
You were gonna get some, gonna get some comparative quotes on that, stuff that I sent you?
Yeah, I'll work on that.
And, so like who have you sent to?
Well, I asked the different managers in the different towns to tell me who they used. John Buckman is one. There's a couple of other people that people use. You want me to name them all?
No, that's fine.
Okay. But whether or not they're
Or on
actually,
TV anyway. I mean, but, yeah.
but whether or not they, well, I think you and I need to sit down and talk about what we want
Right.
to do, and like ask all these people for some sort of a quote, because I think we need to get one person.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we'd have to
Familiar with
quote
our
it out,
system,
but,
yeah.
but that's why, you know, I lean towards this one company because I worked for them before. I saw what they did, and they supported municipalities, and the quote we have is a good quote for a server that could last the town up to 10 years. And yes, so up front there would be some cost, about 10.5 the first year, but then after that it would be an additional whatever to the line. I mean, what's the line right now? It's like $1,000.
Yeah.
It would cost about another $4 on top of that for ongoing support. You know, for somebody that's right there, anytime they have something, they call help desk and they're right there. Bam, you know.
Yeah, the
and they
computers
know
have
the
been-
system. They set it up. You
Have
know?
been incredibly slow. You know, we have to sit there and wait.
I don't have
for-
the time for it. You know,
Yeah,
I've done what I
do.
can, and I come in when I can. I don't have the time. So for the support they actually need, and as things keep growing, you know, they.
No, I agree, we need to update that for sure. It's just, that's why I called, because I knew that
Sure.
you'd done some, and that's why I was just trying to see if we could help them get them
Right.
through this until we.
And I like that company. It's not that I'm trying to sell them anything. It's not that I'm like it's that I've seen what they do. I've been the guy that's gonna be monitoring the system, and I know what happens when you miss something. So, you know, the boss is gonna be right on you. So, you know, I know what they do. So,
Work it no more, right?
huh?
No, he didn't know.
No, I don't work for them. It's been years, so.
Anything else, Ruth?
No, but I did have one note about your announcements.
Selectmen's comments, upcoming meetings. Regular selectmen meeting will be held on December 27th at 6:30. On Tuesday, January 3rd at 6:30, there will be a budget workshop. On Tuesday, January 10th at 6:30, there will be a regular selectmen meeting. Additionally, the RSU 5 referendum election on the track and field project is January 10th, 2017, 2017, excuse me. Absentee ballots are available at the town office, and I believe there's an upcoming, is there a public hearing on that as well, or
I
was there
don't
just a
know,
public hearing?
actually.
The only thing I wanna mention is, so we don't forget some of those reviews that I wanted to re-look at, not tonight, but when Jeff's here and then when we're all here in the future, but I don't want that
Okay.
to be forgotten. I wanna make sure we do it sooner than later.
Right, do you wanna
I
do
know
that
there's
at
3 or
the
4 that I just wanna make sure we was
December 27th meeting? We'll try to put that on.
sure. You want, yep.
Review reviews.
And
We review the reviews.
Yeah, I
That we'll
can
review.
give you the I give you the 2 or 3 names of ones that I remember that I think we may wanna look at, and, or we can do more, I don't care, I don't think we need to, but I think there's 2 or 3 that maybe we just got.
Well, we're gonna sign tonight.
Just those two, the
Do I
oath,
have a motion to
sorry.
I motion adjourn.
adjourn? Thank you.
Second.
All those in favor?